For a long time, astronomers thought that the Earth was in the middle of the solar system, and that the Sun and the planets were attached to invisible spheres revolving around the Earth. But over the years, the system grew complicated, with more spheres being included to explain why the planets did not move across the sky at fixed speeds or directions. One man found a simple answer to explain the imperfect movements. Nicholas Copernicus was a Polish astronomer who thought there must be an easier way to explain the movements of the planets, so he made a new system that was far simpler, with the Sun in a fixed position in the middle and the planets orbiting the Sun in perfectly circular orbits. Copernicus's system gave simple explanations for strange planetary movements like the retrograde motion of Mars. From Earth it looks like Mars goes forwards, backwards, and then forwards again, but from Copernicus's model we can see that this is just what it looks like from the Earth, and that Mars only moves in one direction. Copernicus didn't share his idea with many people because he thought he would be laughed at. Imagine if someone was trying to convince you that the Sun revolved around the Earth today. But over time, more people thought that the Copernicus system could have some truth, and they started looking at the universe from his point of view. Tycho Brahe was a Danish astronomer who recorded planetary movements very accurately to find out which system was right. Brahe's assistant, Johannes Kepler, was a believer of the Copernican system, but Brahe was not convinced. When Brahe died, Kepler used his recorded observations to form his own theories about how the planets move, known today as Kepler's laws of planetary motion. These laws changed the Copernican system slightly. Planets now had elliptical orbits, not circular ones. In 1609, the Italian Galileo Galilei built one of the first telescopes and discovered the moons of Jupiter, showing that not everything orbited around the Earth like the old system said. Galileo also saw that Venus had phases like our moon, depending on where Venus and Earth were in relation to the Sun. These phases wouldn't be possible with the old system, but made sense with Copernicus's system. Galileo wrote books about his findings promoting the Copernican system, but this got him into trouble with the Catholic Church. He was ordered to be tried by the Church's tribunal for heresy. He was found guilty, but he was lucky not to be executed. Instead, he was made to publicly admit that the Copernican system was a lie. A few decades later, the English physicist Sir Isaac Newton came up with simple laws and theories about physics that explained Kepler's laws. He had new ideas about gravitation, supposedly inspired by seeing an apple fall in an orchard. Newton wondered if the same force that pulled the apple towards the ground could keep the moon orbiting around the Earth and the planets around the Sun. He showed that because of the Sun's large mass when compared to the planets, the Sun is basically stationary in the middle of the solar system with the planets going around it. By the early 18th century, most scientists had agreed that the Copernican system was correct. Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, and Newton helped prove that the Sun was in the middle of the solar system.